Go through the timestamps if you don't want to watch the full video, and please like the video and subscribe to the channel. 2021 is the season to behold, as this will be the last time we witness current complex aero cars, as we are switching to the new regulation from 2022. While the cars will be very similar to 2020, the thing which will not be similar is the amazing lineup of driver we will have this year. We have 3 new rookies in the sport, and also returning this year will be 2-time world champion Alonso, while Kimi, Grosjean, Alex and Latiffi leaving the sport. So it is fair to say we have multiple changes into the sport, and also the elephant in the room will be the budget cap. Now we need to see how Ferrari, Mercedes and Red Bull cope with the new budget and wind tunnel restrictions. Okay, so let's kickstart our season predictions by answering the question asked by Sky Sports. What's your bold prediction for 2021? So, my bold prediction for 2021 will goes like this. Driver of the year would be our German friend Sebastian Vettel. After the most hideous 2020 season in SF1000, I think switching to Aston Martin will give him the seat he deserves and would shine through the season. Rookie of the year would be Alonso. And top 3 in the Drivers' Championship would be, on number 3 would be Aston Martin's Sebastian Vettel, on number 2 will be Hamilton, and on number 1 will be Red Bull's Max. Ranking the top 3 in Constructors' Championship would be, on number 3 Aston Martin, number 2 would be Mercedes and number 1 will be of course Red Bull. Alright, moving on the real predictions. So starting with the flop of the year, I think the biggest flop would be Fernando Alonso. Yeah, I know he is a 2-time world champion, but I think he is way past his peak time and would struggle to get grip on the Alpine during the early races, but would eventually get used to it. Still wouldn't provide the results everyone is expecting from him. Next up will be the driver of the year. For me it would be Sergio Perez. We all know the amount of potential Checo holds and had shown prominent results throughout the 2020 season, while the Stroll was performing very poorly. And I think after switching to Red Bull he will shine through the season and would get a fair share of poles during the season. Okay, now moving to the rookie of the year would be Mick Schumacher. Mick is carrying the highest amount of pressure on his shoulder due to the surname he is carrying. And also we know that the Haas isn't performing very well. We all knew that Haas would be in bottom 3, but you may don't know they might go even lower than you expect them to. Now let's talk about the most improved driver of the year. So I think the most improved driver through the season would be Seb. Last year he was 13th on the driver standing, and I think he would perform better in 2021 and be able to climb at least 4 to 6 position up in that Aston. He is my favorite driver and I am very desperate to see him perform well in the green Mercedes. Now let's talk about rivalry, as it has been the part of the sport from so long. And we gonna talk about both inter-team rivalry and also rivalry between 2 teams. So starting from the inter-team rivalry, I think we would see the most sparkling on-grid rivalry between 2 McLaren driver Lando and Ricciardo. Many people would think of rivalry in Red Bull or even Alpine, but I think McLaren would be on next level, as we have 2 very different drivers and amazing and very promising cars. So let's see if my predictions are correct or not. Now coming to the rivalry between teams, I think it wouldn't between 2 teams or even 3. But again, these are just my predictions. I think rivalry on peak would be between Red Bull and Mercedes as always, but I think there is going to be a strong competition between McLaren also coming into the mix and also Alpine. And I want to clear things out. Ferrari have claimed to get 3rd position this year, which I don't think gonna happen, even if Carlos has joined the team, but the car last year was underperforming like crazy, so I think they might get on number 4, but I don't see them on 3rd in any shape or form in 2021. Now coming to the main Drivers' Championship. On number 20th would definitely be the guy who doesn't deserve the seat, Haas driver Nikita Mazepin. On number 19th would be Haas second driver Mick Schumacher. I think holds the potential of grabbing the point, but certainly the car doesn't. Okay, on number 18th would be Nicholas Latifi. I am hoping for Latifi to at least perform better than the 2 Haas, and I certainly think the Williams would improve overall. On number 17th would be Alfa Romeo's Antonio Giovinazzi. The Alfa is also not performing well due to the Ferrari engine and lacks the aerodynamics in the design. So you could easily guess on number 16th would be Antonio colleague Kimi, as they share very similar lap times throughout the season, and I don't see him going over the charts with that Alfa. Moving on to number 15th would be the driver with whom people had the highest hope for at least one race. Yeah, you guessed it right, it would be Williams driver George Russell, and I could see if scoring at least 10 to 15 points through the course of the season. On number 14th would be Alpha Tauri's Yuki Tsunoda. This young driver holds the potential but would require time to get used to with the new car and would score some points, but I don't see him scoring higher 35 to 45 points. On number 13th would be Fernando Alonso from the Alpine. I told you that the Alpine could improve, but let's face it, he is getting old and is not certainly on his peak which he was in 2005 and 2006. On number 12th would be Aston Martin's Lance Stroll. He made a fair share of mistakes in 2020 and isn't the best in the game, and will not be getting a higher position than last year. On number 11th would be Alpine's second driver Esteban Ocon. I think he will overtake Stroll in the Drivers' Championship, as the Alpine would perform better than the Aston, and certainly he is overall a better driver than Stroll. On number 10th would be a close call for Gasly and Charles, as I certainly think Gasly and Charles both will improve, but the game on top would be even more competitive than last year. So again on number 9th would be Gasly or Charles, vice versa. On number 8th would be Sebastian Vettel. He would improve as he will have a better car compared to the SF1000. But still he would take time to get used to in that Aston. On number 7th would be Lando Norris. He was on number 9, but I think with the experience and techniques he gained from Carlos and would be gaining through the course of the season from Ricciardo will help him climb this year. On number 6th would be Carlos Sainz. Ferrari is hoping to grab third in the Constructors, but I think even with Carlos it is hard to achieve. And I think Carlos would be staying in the same position in 2021 as in 2020. On number 5th would be Ricciardo again as last year, but he will be fighting for higher position due to a better car and more confidence this year. On number 4th would be Bottas. I put him on 4th is due to his performance, or I would say the lack of performance shown by him in 2020. Also don't forget last year he was pressurized by just Max, but this year Sergio would also give him a run for the money. On number 3rd I strongly see Sergio if and only if Red Bull solves the problem with their second car, and people often say the car has nothing to do. But I think there is certainly a problem with the second bull. Let's see how it goes with Sergio. On number 2nd would be, of course you guessed it 1000% right, Max Verstappen. Look, whatever Red Bull tries, but Mercedes has got that perfect man-to-machine connection with Lewis and the car, and it is hard to beat. And we have seen Max doing silly thing in 2020, so in 2021 definitely on number 1 would be Lewis if he signed the contract with Mercedes, which he gonna do, and will grab his 8th World Championship title. Now let's move on to the Constructors' Championship. On number 10th would be Haas. Look, all rookie lineup might bring more money on the table, but what it doesn't bring is the experience, and which will gonna cost more to Haas than any other team. On number 9th would be Alfa Romeo. Now you might say if experience is important, then Alfa has plenty of it, but what they lack is the performance from the car and the aerodynamics. On number 8, which would very closely follow, will be Williams. They have given a hint towards working with Mercedes on even higher level, and combining that with what Russell has achieved through his 2020 season experience will bring them up in the championship. On number 7th would be close call between Alpha Tauri and Alpine, as both the teams have one weak and one strong driver, so it can go either way, but I still believe on number 7th would be Alpha Tauri. So you might have guessed it, on number 6th would be Alpha or Alpine again, but I think Ocon and will growing this year, and Ocon and Alonso pair would give better results to the team. Okay, now on to the number 5th form. Here the real battle begins, and Aston Martin would be number 5 as Sebastian would be gaining his pace up as the season passes, but in the end it all depends upon the work done by Stroll. If he showed better performance they could go even higher. Now on number 4 would be the Italian Tifosi. They claim to grab the third in Constructors, but I still think that not gonna happen this year even if they have a very strong pair of Charles and Sainz. On the number 3 would be again our British team McLaren. I could see Lando and Ricciardo pair have a blast of the season and will give other teams a very hard competition. On second position would be Red Bull, but I think the margin between them and Mercedes would be far less compared to last year, as I think Max and Sergio pair would at least gather over 380 to 400 points this year. On to the winner of the 2021 Formula 1 season would definitely be Mercedes. Look, I called out on Bottas underperforming, but on the other hand Hamilton gonna give everything he had got to grab that 8th world title, and they will still manage to outperform Red Bull, but the margin would be less. That's it from my side. Mention your Constructors and Drivers' Championship predictions in the comment. Also consider subscribing to the channel and share the video with your friends and family.